Hi, welcome to Alex's Supper Club. Okay, so today we're going to talk about bread. Loads of you have been asking, what do I do instead of bread? I love bread, but it makes me feel bloated, it makes me feel tired, I've got a wheat allergy, what do? I love sandwiches, it's convenient. So this is an amazing, amazing recipe. It's called Buckwheat wraps. You could make pancakes, all that kind of thing. So you're going to be able to have that sandwich without having all of the other things that you don't want to get with that sandwich. So we'll go straight ahead and make them, and then I'm going to show you some things you can put in them. So I've got some buckwheat flour here. I know it's got wheat in the name, but it's not wheat. I've worked for Russian families who cook this almost like a porridge and have it for breakfast, which I didn't really like, but it's not a wheat, so don't worry about that. It tastes, I don't know, it's got a really nice nutty flavour. It will taste like a wrap, like the kind of wheat wrap that you're used to, but we're going to add lots of flavours to it as well. And the best thing for you to do is just give it a go. This is from Dove's Farm. You can order online. You can get it in most supermarkets, health food stores, that kind of thing. So I'm going to put about a cup. If you want to measure it, you can. But I find if we can get you to start feeling the food, rather than just using a straight recipe, you're actually going to enjoy it more because the sense of achievement is bigger and it's actually more likely to go right. Because if your flour's slightly different or you measure the water out and your measuring jug isn't quite right, it's not necessarily going to be right. So what we're looking for is consistency. So I'm just going to pour water in and just start slowly whisking. And then just give the bowl a shake and a whisk at the same time. And we're looking for, if you've ever made pancakes, a really thin batter. So right now, this is really thick, okay? So we know we need more water. So I'm just going to add a bit more. It's quite thick and heavy now. You could use it like this, but it's going to be a bit stodgy and a bit thick. It's not going to spread out in the pan. And what we want is a nice thin, pourable batter that we can then pour into the pan. So I'm just going to keep adding, and you'll be amazed how much water this takes. So we keep going. So it's quite thin now, but still not runny enough. We really want this quite runny. Remember, if you put too much water in, you should add a bit more flour. So there's no big deal not getting it right. Okay, so that's much, much more runny now. You can really see it's runny. And all I'm going to add is a bit of salt, just a good pinch of salt, and just a little pinch of sugar. Again, you don't have to add the sugar. I would recommend salt, so that it doesn't taste really, really bland. Just a little pinch of salt there. So you've just basically got the simple batter. Now, that's fine as it is. That's going to give you a plain buckwheat wrap. But what I'm going to do, because what we're looking for is some tasty food that we're going to enjoy rather than feeling a bit kind of hard done by because we didn't get our bread, I'm going to add cumin. Cumin is my super favourite spice to add to things. You'll probably see me using it a lot. But you can add Italian seasoning if we're going to do an Italian wrap. So maybe then we'll put roasted peppers and courgettes and aubergine, that kind of thing. Or we can put some chili powder in and then maybe some coriander and spring onions actually in the wrap. So you get the idea. So this isn't just one boring wrap. This is a basic recipe that you add your flavours to correspond to what filling you're going to put in the wrap. And all of a sudden, it's an amazing, really nice lunch, supper, snack, even breakfast. I quite often have these for breakfast as an alternative to cereals and toast and that kind of thing. So I'm just going to put a pinch. These are whole cumin seeds. You can use ground cumin if you want. Probably a small teaspoon there. I'm just going to whisk that in. And then as this wrap cooks, you're going to get the smell of the cumin and the flavour. And then when we eat the wrap as well, it's going to be really, really tasty. So I'm just going to give that a mix in. And I think I'm going to add some fennel seeds as well. Fennel and cumin go really, really well together. So this is going to be super, super tasty. So there we are. We've got our fennel and our cumin batter. And we're going to cook some now and show you how easy this is. Okay, so we're going to cook these now. We're going to lose the whisk and we're going to take a ladle. And we've got a hot pan on the stove. We want it really nice and hot, non-stick frying pan. Depends what size you want. I like to make them big because then you have one wrap and it's, you know, a good replacement for a sandwich. We're going to put a little bit of veg oil in the pan. And we're going to wipe most of it out actually. We just want a little tiny bit just to do it. And a good trick is just get a piece of kitchen towel and just wipe the pan. So there's a tiny, tiny bit of oil left there. And it stops burning your pastry brush if you try and use a pastry brush. One ladle in and just pour the batter around. Just going to go around the pan, give it a bit of a shake. This is almost so non-stick it won't stick. And we're just going to pour it around, and we're just going to let it cook. And you know it's ready to turn over when it goes dry. Don't worry about the heat, keep it nice high heat. You want to cook these quickly, we don't want to mess around here. And we're just going to let it dry. While that's drying, I'm going to get a plate. So as soon as it's cooked, we put it onto a plate, and then we can cook the next one. So you can see there, it's nearly dry. A couple of bubbles coming up through. We're just going to leave it another couple of seconds longer. And there, you can see it's ready to come up because it's not sticking at all. Quick flip over. If you want to do your thing with the pancake flipping, that's fine, but I'd rather do it like this. And just let it another sort of few seconds on the bottom, and it's basically ready, and that's it, ready to go. Sometimes I love to make a sandwich straight away while it's still warm, especially in the winter, because it kind of gives you that warm food without, you know, having to eat lots of cooked food. So you get all the goodness of the raw fresh salad inside, but it still feels warm. And we're just going to check that. Completely dry and cooked now, and we're just going to put it onto a plate. And there you have a buckwheat wrap, which we can do many, many things with. Okay, so we've got our wraps, we've got some fillings, we've got our seasonings. All in all, this has only taken us a couple of minutes now from start to this point. So I'm just going to give you a few suggestions, and I'm going to show you it. So we've got one wrap on a plate. I've got some hummus. This is a bought one. I will do a recipe on how to make it, but while we're in the convenience mode, let's use a bought one. Again, you don't have to buy plain hummus. Try the different flavours. I wasn't always a big fan of the plain hummus, but love the Moroccan one. So give it a go. If you don't like hummus, don't add it. I'm just going to spread it on quite thinly. You don't want too much, it gets a bit sort of sticky and stodgy. So I've just spread that on the wrap, and then this is going to be a really basic wrap. I've got some cucumber, just thinly sliced, and I'm just going to put all of the filling down the middle so that we can then roll it up. So cucumber, some slices of tomato. Again, if you don't like any of this, leave it out. You could put grated carrots, you could put some red onion, anything like that. I've got lots of herbs in this one. Again, we're going for flavour. So I've got some coriander. And again, you know, if you're going to buy herbs in the supermarket, yes, they're quite expensive, so let's use them. Don't let them go off in the fridge, which is, I know, what a lot of people do. They're kind of expensive, so you use a bit, and you think, I'll use them again. Then you forget, and they go off. Let's get them in there, get using them, and get them tasty. So we've got coriander, mint, basil. Just break that in. Again, being fairly, you know, simple, rustic, throw it in, use stalks as well, take off the big ones. Bit of parsley, flat leaf parsley. And I've got a couple of spinach leaves. Again, these dark green leafy leaves, so good for us. A couple of the organic lettuce leaves that came from Riverford yesterday. Just giving them a quick wash, and I've just put those in. And again, to wash off the mud, not the pesticides, let's remember that. This was probably picked from a farm maybe 2 days ago. It's here and it's already being eaten in a sandwich. Now, this is the point where a lot of people would wrap this wrap up, eat it and think, well, it was nice, but it wasn't amazing. So what I've got here, sesame oil, toasted, which is just really nice tasting. I've got Ulo's oil, which is a fantastic oil to get your omega-3, 6 and 9. It's in a really good balance. This is expensive, it's about £20 a bottle, but when we're spending £2, £3, £4 on a cup of Starbucks, this becomes relatively cheap because it's very good for you. And I'm just going to put a little drizzle on. If you don't get your good fats, you're not actually helping yourself. So this idea of a completely fat-free diet, forget it. You need these. I've got a bit of salt. Again, salt's fine if you're cooking fresh food like this. Your body needs it. Buy a good salt. I buy Malden salt. You can buy Himalayan salt, but just a fresh, you know, a real salt, not a chemically produced salt. Bit of grinded black pepper. And then again, you can add all sorts of things. I'm going to leave this one as it is, because that's sort of one of my favourite basic wraps. And I'm just going to take the wrap, and this is where you need to get your hands in, squash the lettuce down, and just wrap it up. Like that. Give it a bit of a squash. And there we have a wrap. And we're just going to cut it in half, so it's easier to eat. Again, you might want to use a cleaner plate if there's a few of you. And we're just going to present it like that. And there you go. You've got an amazingly tasty wrap, full of goodness, no wheat, and really tasty.